Welcome to the 2017 admin election, and this video is for the candidates in to lay out their opinions about the server. Now before we start that, we're going to go over my opinions as a sort of baseline to see what I would do in either situations or for these questions. Now the first question is, would you be for or against the creation of a dumpster fire chat? Personally, I am against it because it kind of is divisive in the idea that, people want to see this chat, or why would we divide it up? There's no real reason to. The next question is, would you be for or against the creation of an SFW chat? I'm pretty neutral on it. I'm kind of mad about it. The only thing is that it's not really politically focused, and there have to be some restrictions about who can access it. Now the third question is, do you think an event text channel and any possible rule to go along with that fit the server? Explain. I personally not for that because it doesn't really fit with the server, which is a big thing for me. So the fourth question is that there's an offenders list with how many points that each offender has and what day they'll be, point free. It is currently only visible to staff members. It should be made public for other users, or should it, stay private to only staff members? And I am for this. The only reason I haven't opened it up is because some people do have mixed opinions about it, and this is it could be something that the new staff in September decide and push through. Now the fifth question is, what do you think of Rule C3, and should it be changed? And if you would change it, how would you do it? So Rule C3 basically is about people that have hateful mindsets and are just basically either xenophobic or racist or bigoted in any way. So they're just thrown out. I personally wouldn't change it at the moment. There's no reason to not change it. The last thing are these three scenarios, and all these three scenarios, let's assume that me, the owner of the server, is gone, and that the admin is there to take a hold of the situation. So the first situation is that there are two people and they're having a heated debate, and it's gone from civil to vicious as both parties are throwing insults at each other. You stepped in and told them to stop the discussion immediately, but they ignore you and persist. What do you do from here? Now if I was the admin, I would both slap them. If they did ignore me, then I would both slap them with a harassment rule, and then which means that they both get 35 points and get kicked. It just basically breaks up discussion and is a hey, you can't do that here. The second scenario is that a new user has joined in and has started to spam images in the general text channel. You tell them to stop and they do. An hour passes and they're back at it again. What do you do? Now, what I would do if they ignore me the first time, then alright, here you go, here's your spam violation. So they get hit with the whatever points it is. And if they continue after that, then the points will eventually add up to being a kick. The third scenario, good news, Alfred caught Ben blackmailing Carl. Ben was threatening to dox Carl. The bad news, Alfred caught him by recording his audio. Ben is breaking Rule C2, which is basically the dangerous person rule. But Alfred is also breaking Rule F3, which is you can't record someone's audio without their permission. So what do you do? So immediately I would, ban Ben. Ben's never coming back. But Alfred, he did technically break the rules. However, he did it in a way to, protect the server. So I'd only give him half punishments. So that means instead of the standard 70 points, he'd get only 35 points and no dunce. So he'd only get a kick and invite back immediately. So right now I'm going to give you a brief summary of each opinion of each person. And if you want to see their full opinion, I've left timestamps in the description below, so you can click on each person and see their opinion.
I am for a dumpster fire chat, since some of us always like to have very cruel memes and very offensive memes. We need to give people a chat to post them for people who like that. I am for an NSFW chat, since some people like having people to show people shit to fap to. It is okay for people to have an NSFW role, and it would just overall help the server a bit. a vent chat. It helps so some people who do not want to see people venting about shit in life, and the role for someone to help is important for people who really need the help in a time of need. The offenders list should be made public. It would help some people know that they either have points, or if their friends have points, they don't need to bother that person to ask. I would change Rule C3 in a minor way due to clearing up some of the loopholes that is present, like making sure that everyone knows if it is in dumpster fire and if it is a joke, since some people like to joke about racism and cruel things in life. Okay, I would kick both of due to Rule M1 and then talk to them in DMS, warning them if they would come back and continue to argue with the other they would get a ban, and I would tell this to both of them and let them back into the server. I would kick that person due to the points gained and warn him again, saying if he does that one more time I will ban him or Dunce. I would ban Alfred. Ben would then get kicked and Dunce roll due to the rules he broke.
Since really, I feel the addition of a chat that's really dedicated to very sort of offensive stuff, I feel it would be pointless. Since really, I don't really feel the addition of a dumpster fire chat would really benefit the server in like a positive way. I feel it would kind of negate, I guess. I don't know. I just feel it would kind of make the server a little less like welcoming. I'd actually be for that, to be honest, since really I feel a lot of what I've seen in NSFW is really just art, or in some cases fan fiction, but that's rare. And really, I am all for creative freedom when it comes to this type of stuff. At least if it's good looking, which most of the time, surprisingly, a lot of NSFW related art I've seen actually does look fairly well drawn and all that. So I don't want that to be, I don't want to like limit art, you know? No, I do not think we need a vent chat, since I think, I don't know if you've seen me express this with vent chats before in Mama Max, but I know some other people ever have, but I'm not really for a vent or a help me chat, since I feel since it very much attracts attention seekers. I think people who do vent chat are kind of bringing people who in a lot of ways really do want to help, and in some, like, those people who do want to help out with the like very serious issues that these people have, like possible abuse, suicidal thoughts and all that these people have or may have, because as before I mentioned, attention seekers, really it would just lead to mental like stress and mental abuse, I think, when it comes to some people that I've seen from vent or a help me chat. I don't really see the point, really. I don't really think it's necessary for other people to see like the amount of points that these people who have really made or broken rules or really done things that are against the server rules. Like, I don't really see the point of them seeing what like points they have. So I feel it already being restricted to only staff members. I feel that's reasonable. I don't think it's that big of a problem. I do not think it should be changed, but if I were to change it a little, it's that actually, you know what? I don't really think it's that bad of a rule. I think I'm personally fine with it. I don't think it really needs to be changed. Really no spreading too much hate and all that, and really basically being for groups like very radical groups, like supporting like the Nazi parties, being like a neo-Nazi themselves, and other like radical groups like that. I don't feel it's very necessary, since a lot of those groups really bring nothing but trouble, in my opinion. I've never really seen someone who's been in a radical group really, or has been a part of one, that's actually tried to reason themselves into actually, you know, in an actual like reasonable way. Really what I would do at that moment is, I don't think, I mean, if the debate were to be very, very, very heated, I think I would call for a kick, or like a kick, but really it's really just a personal decision, but it's either a kick or I mute them, like server mute them, mute them from a text chat and from a voice chat, and it's either a kick or they get muted, depending on how bad it gets. I think I would kick them and then add points, I guess. Since I gave them a warning, they seemed okay with it, and then they just do it again. I'd be kind of, I feel that would be kind of just like, that would be enough. It's just like, they had a warning, a fair warning, in fact. And really, when it comes to spam, it's like it's either you warn, you get it, or you don't. It's really not a three. It's not, to me, it's not a 3-strike thing. It's either you do it, you don't do it again after that. It's like, I would just straight up ban him, to be honest, because really. And then also I try and warn the people who have had any sort of connection with him, or at least I try to get in contact with the people he's had sort of connections with, and sort of give them a fair warning about the guy and say, hey, this guy was just about to DOS this guy, you should be a little more careful around him, I'd say get a kick, and then if you can, you could just come back in a couple of days, but he'd still have, I wouldn't. The points, the points are the ones that's kind of getting me. I don't know if it would, I don't know if I would count it or not, if it was for a good, I would still kick him, but I don't know if I would give points.
Yes and no, it all depends on how it's implemented. I feel if it was talked about and discussed properly, we could bring it back. We have had 2 NSFW chats in the past, and so far they haven't lasted long and is just an excuse for Hadeny to post porn. Do I have to explain the Mamamax story again? I believe it should stay confidential, because if it becomes public, people may look down at each other. I wouldn't want my dirty past in the open. There are plenty of servers for people to express themselves as a Nazi and other said beliefs, but this is not that server.
I think we should keep the actual jokes that you could consider a darker taste of humor into a specific chat, so we don't hurt anyone who might not have the same taste of humor. Humor is completely subjective. I never understood the need of a chat like one myself, but if there is a need for one, because people actually use it, I'm all for it. Definitely, people should have a place to vent their anger and annoyance. As long as it's a wide-known fact that no one is obliged to help someone code with anything confidential. The person having done something wrong are punished for it by accumulating points. Having them also publicly humiliated for it isn't necessary. Punishment makes it so that the fault doesn't happen again. There is no need for lasting shame on anyone. The whole point of the system is that it's temporary punishment. If you publicize wrongdoing, you punish people for life. Definitely should not be changed. We should find unity in the fact that we are so accepting to every ideology, and we should definitely spread love to each other. Hate has no place here, so naturally hateful extremists have no place here. I would mute them for the time being, give them a final warning while muted, and if they continue, I will follow up with using our point system. Follow up on the point system. A warning has been given, and a warning is a warning. They break the warning, they get the punishment related. Alfred did have some wrongdoing, because he acted as a judge and broke a rule in return. However, since the situation arose of a capital rule being broken, Alfred should be punished greatly less harshly than the punishment for breaking Rule F3. Ben, on the other hand, should be punished accordingly. Also, I would like to add that Carl should be put fully in attention to make sure we support him enough to get over such a traumatic experience. Blackmail is no joke. We should have as much love as we can for Carl to make sure he feels comfortable on here.
I'm pretty neutral. If stuff like that is already allowed, then there would be no point other than to concentrate it in one spot. I'm for an NSFW chat, cause niggas be horny. Being honest, the way I think it should be done is a channel that requires a role to gain access. However, my penis wants it to only have the tag so I may access it, for I am a minor. I think a vent channel would be good. Lets people release their day so they can relax, maybe even for that little bit more than if there wasn't one. But I don't think a role to accompany it would be necessary. I think the offenders list should be made public in the same way the trial records are public, including the convict's sentence. That way, everyone is not only up to date, but may also feel more involved in the inner workings within the staff. I think it's hard to pin down who is a Nazi or whatnot. I believe that hate is a cause of bullying, harassment, etc. So I think that C3 should be changed to say something like it. A previous rule is broken and has been found to have been fueled by the hatred of a group of people in any way, shape, or form. Then the perpetrator will be given 140 PTS instead of the previous amount. After warning them the first time, I would give them a second, more assertive, and maybe more explicit warning. If they do not yield, then I would tell them that I am hitting both of them with an M1. Then I would give them both 35 PTS and kick them. I tell them to stop. If they do, then great. If they don't, I tell them I am hitting them with an I4, give them 21 PTS as well as the dunks roll and make note of the time in order, to keep track of the 24 HRS. If they spam some more immediately after or something like an hour later, I tell them that I am giving them another 21 PTS, and proceed to kick them. Back to the beginning of the scenario. If they are back at it again an hour after warning them a second time, that's when I take the same action as laid out earlier. I tell Alfred after I have dealt with Ben that Walsh's help is appreciated. He still broke F3, so I tell him that I am giving him 70 PTS as well as kicking him, and make note of the time. When it comes to Ben, I will tell him that he broke rule C2, and that I am giving him 140 PTS as well as banning him. I then report into Discord staff, and then send Hadeny a report on the events that occurred.
I'm against the creation of a dumpster fire chat, because I believe people shouldn't feel so quickly offended. I'm against the creation of an NSFW chat. The server is for political discussions and not about posting pictures of a furry having sex with Darth Vader. Again, the server has been made for political purposes. If you want to express your feeling, you should go to the hell server. If they are dumped, don't make it public. This is a civilized server, not a bunch of idiots making fun of other people. However, if they aren't dumped, make it public so people can keep an eye on it during a debate. Don't change it. Well look, although we Western people live in countries with free speech and such, we shouldn't allow people who support terrorist or extremist groups to spread their thoughts in the server. Social media like Twitter have their reasons to ban those people from doing the same thing, so why shouldn't we? Then I'd dunce them. I would DM them and tell the reason why they were dunced, offering them a chance to settle it out between the two, but still let them be dunced for the remaining time of punishment. There is no purpose of having rules if they aren't enforced. If they still fight after the time is up, dunce them again, dunce them, this time to prevent the spamming from continuing. I'll DM the user with reason why the dunce was placed on them and tell them they should respect the rules even if they are a newbie. Make an exception for Alfred, although he did break a rule. He used it catch Ben. But this can't go unpunished, so a milder sentence like a 3-day ban for Alfred would fit it. As for Ben though, he can say bye bye to being able to post in the channels cause he's getting dunced.
I'm against us making a channel for memes that may offend some people will come off as too liberal for some people that don't mind them, and if it's going to be anything like the old Hadeny server, it'll just create confusion and problems that shouldn't exist. I'd be for an NSFW chat as they are now allowed for Discord and wouldn't hinder the server at all. It may look odd from the channel and server as it's mainly political, but NSFW can also be about more adult subject matter as it is not safe for work and may also bring more people in the server. As it may seem like a dick move on my part, it doesn't fit in at all. As venting usually doesn't seem to go well with politics and your channel is more about facts and laying them out to form a common collective opinion. Venting doesn't fit in the channel's format or server. It should be made transparent, as it shows that the staff are doing what they do and are also showing that as a server that they, members, can trust the staff to not show favoritism and can be given a fair punishment that everyone can see so they aren't screwed over. It also gives those who are in trouble a way to see how many points they have so they can be assured when they'll be point free. I think the rule is necessary for the server and should be kept as the way it is as it protects everyone's opinion but also punish those that forwards hate. I give them dunks for 24 HR as they aren't listening to my order and are throwing insults. I give them dunks for a day as they are spamming Lil Kimmy in general. First I'd ban Ben for threatening to vex Carl. I like Carl. He's a good kid. Now on to Alfred. I wouldn't do anything to him since he broke a rule to report someone a danger to the server, and since he wasn't using it for any malicious purposes I'd let him off with a warning at max.